Morning! Trace Perot here with my channel 20 at 70. This channel is all about how to feel like you're 20 when you're 70 years old and beyond. Believe it or not, everybody out there is going to get to 70, and a lot of you are going to get to 80, 90, 100, 120, 140. I just saw a picture a week ago of a woman that was 200 years old, or 202 or something like that. So, you know, she's not eating a plant-based diet. Maybe she is, but she's not eating 80-10-10. She's not loading up on fruit. I'm not sure where she was. She's probably eating a very good diet. So, you know, the potential, you know, if you're eating the optimal diet, the potential is tremendous. So anyways, today I wanted to talk about just two things. And I'm going to be doing some yoga while I'm talking, so don't mind me. The first thing I want to talk about is a concept, the concept of energy. Okay, so energy, like Tony Robbins, you know, the motivational speaker, says, energy is like gold. Okay, you can't get enough of it. It's worth its weight in gold. Okay, and energy is was the initial prompter for me to get into this kind of lifestyle. Now, what I have to say about energy is that as you age, as you get older, of course, certain parts of your body age, certain things age. Maybe your skeleton, maybe your muscles, your eyesight, your hearing. Maybe you lose some hair or it turns gray. I mean, these things all go on. However, your energy's capacity to process, your body's capacity to process energy never changes. I firmly believe this. Right up until your dying day, you are able to process good, clean, pure energy. Okay, what that means is whatever mechanism your body has for converting food into energy never ages. Okay, I truly believe this. You know, there may be obstructions due to aging, but you know, those are according to what you've eaten all your life. So if you right now are on SAD, the standard American diet, and you're eating meat twice a day, and you're eating dairy, and you're eating you know, maybe drinking alcohol, coffee every day to get up and have energy, pasta, you know, all this cooked food, you're poorly combining it, okay, your body still has the capacity to process energy in its purest form. Doesn't matter if you're eating all this crap. Doesn't matter what your state of health is. Doesn't matter. Your body is designed to go towards health, okay? And any chance it gets, it will go towards health, okay? So you know, if you are on an SAD and it's not working, maybe you've got health problems, okay? If you start feeding it properly right now, it will immediately start to heal, okay? Because it's going to adopt that pathway. It's going to adopt the pathway of taking the food that is specific to our species, and it's going to use that to heal, and it's going to process that very cleanly, and you will immediately start to heal. So just keep that in mind. No matter where you are, your body is always ready to go. It's always ready to process that energy. I don't care if you're, you know, 95 years old and got one foot in the grave, you know, change that diet, okay? Start processing the substances that give you pure energy, and your body will start to heal. Okay, so the second concept I want to talk about is food combining. And this is something that, wow, man, nobody knows about it. I mean, you know, 99.9999999% of people on this earth have never even heard of it, okay? And it is the most fundamental concept for a proper diet, for a diet that gives you nutrients and gives you energy. Why haven't we heard about it? Well, because our transition from the original diet we ate, hundreds, thousands of years ago, was very gradual. And in its original form, it was properly combined. Okay, when we were running around gathering fruit, living in food forests, eating fruit and greens off the plants, there was no problem with food combining, because we weren't eating all this other stuff, right? So, anyways, we are at a point now that we scientifically can analyze that, and people have done that, and so we've come up with this thing called food combining, and really your primary source for information on food combining is a book called Fit for Life. It was written by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond, whom I had a chance to meet when I was working at Motown Productions on Sunset and Vine in Hollywood, California, because they had helped the head of Motown Productions, Suzanne DePass, who was Berry Gordy's right-hand person, lose weight. Okay, so she decided that she wanted to do a video for them to accompany their book called Fit for Life. So Fit for Life lays it out for you. And the nice thing about Fit for Life is it tells you up front you don't have to give up anything that you eat, okay? You will give up a lot of things you eat if you're on the SAD, but you don't have to at this point to absorb the information of food combining. So food combining, I will try to break down simply, but there's no substitution for that particular book. Fit for Life, it's based on the idea of natural hygiene, okay? So I'll just try to briefly break it down here, but I highly recommend getting that book. It's got to be in your library if you're interested in, having a great, physically fit and smoothly operating, disease-free physical presence on this earth. So the first thing I want to talk about is the idea, the last video, I'll go over real briefly what the last video was all about. Last video was all about fruit, the three divisions of fruit, the three kinds of fruit. Okay, it was a little bit about food combining. It was about making smoothies and that sort of thing. Okay, calorie counting, and getting enough calories. That's what episode number 1 is. So in episode number 2, this episode, gonna lay out the principles of food combining. So even though there's 3 kinds of fruit, we're just gonna drop that and we're going to a more basic level. We're gonna categorize all food into 2 classes. And those 2 classes are high water content food and low water content food, okay? So if you're eating a SAD, your high water content food are any fruits and vegetables, okay? Those are high water content food. Most of them contain anywhere from 85 to 90%, 95% water. And I have to laugh because, I eat all organic and I always refer to it as just expensive water because it's mostly water, and you're paying a premium to get that water organically and not, processed or full of pesticides and what have you. Anyways, so all your fruits and vegetables are your high water content food, high water content food. Your low water content food is anything that's dense. So everything else, steak, potatoes, pasta, every other kind of quote unquote main dish that you eat is a low water content food. Okay, and guess which one is better for you? The high water content food. I mentioned this in the first video because your body is made of 60 to 70% water. So, you want to go with the flow. You want to put water in it. And, how do you think your microbiome responds to water, to nutrients in water? It loves it, okay? It thrives. Your microbiome in your gut thrives on water, with minerals and vitamins and all that kind of stuff, The dense food, The low water content food, not so good. Takes a lot more energy to digest. Of course, most of that low water content or high density food is not very good for you. Okay, so high water content, low water content. So as far as food combining goes, I'm just going to trace out the natural hygiene progression of your day. Okay, natural hygienists divide the day into 3 periods. Okay, the first period goes from, I think, about 3 o'clock in the morning. They're 8-hour periods, 3 o'clock in the morning till noon. Okay, and that is the period in which you're eliminating. Okay, your body's taken the food in, it's already, it's digested, it extracted the minerals, and now it wants to eliminate. Okay, that's until noon. Okay, from noon to would be, I believe, 8 o'clock. Your body is taking on nutrients. That's when you're feeding yourself. Okay, so you're taking on nutrients from noon to 8 o'clock at night. And if you're on the SAD, if you're not raw, if you're a vegetarian, a cooked vegetarian, you never want to eat anything after 8 o'clock because it will seriously affect your energy, because at 8 p.m. you go into the 3rd progression, and that is the absorption cycle. So from 8 o'clock to whatever, 3 or 4, I can't do the math in my head. You're in the absorption cycle. Okay, so you got the 3 cycles. You got 3 or 4 in the morning till noon, your elimination cycle. Noon to 8, you're feeding yourself, you're bringing in nutrients. 8 to 4, you're absorbing those nutrients. Okay. So let's see, how can we break this down basically? So what Fit for Life recommends is that you only eat fruit before noon. And this is like the greatest recommendation for eating that you can possibly come across. Okay. And since you are in your elimination cycle, you want to start with acid fruit when you get up in the morning, because acid fruit helps you eliminate. As soon as it hits your intestines, boom, you got to go poop. All right. So an acid fruit takes only a half hour to get out of your stomach, right? Then you want to move into your more substantial fruits, maybe some subacid fruit, although subacid doesn't have much calories, but you definitely want to hit your high calorie fruit thereafter. So you go after the bananas or the Rollinia or the dates or the soaked raisins, all that stuff right up until noon. Okay. And you want to combine those with greens. Okay, so that's going to help you absorb the nutrients and the calories in that food. Okay, and then Fit for Life says that at noon, then you start eating your vegetables. Then, the optimal thing is have the salad, of course, but if you're on the SAD, just go ahead and have whatever, a piece of bread or whatever, whatever low water content food you want to put in there. But you do have to be careful, because if you've eaten a lot of high density fruit, it's not going to mix those vegetables and those low water content foods like pasta or meat or fish or what have you, rice, potatoes. Those are not going to mix with the high density sweet fruit. Okay, so that's but if you're on the SAD, it doesn't matter, because you're screwed up anyways. You're not digesting properly anyways. What you're doing is taking the first step, and eventually you will feel that incompatibility with that lunch, and you will adjust accordingly. Okay, and then at the end of the day is when you're recommended to eat the heavier foods. Like if you're SAD, you're eating steak, you're eating ribs, you're eating chicken, you're eating fish, potatoes, salad, pasta and rice, right? Or whatever, some combination or variation on that. And that's what you eat for dinner. And so, the idea is that since your body uses like 50% of its energy to digest your food, okay, even more if you're improperly combining, that you want to eat the heavy stuff at the end of the day when you don't need the energy. So if you sit down to have a meal at 6:30, 7 o'clock, you're just going to lay around and, watch television and not do much, right? So you don't need all that energy. But in the morning, wow, you need the energy. So you're eating that fruit. It's not dragging you down. And same thing in the afternoon. Although a little less so, because maybe you've eaten some pasta for lunch, pasta and a salad. So that's the basic progression of natural hygiene. And so what I want to do is introduce this idea of a more refined idea of food combining. Okay, so if any of you took high school chemistry, the fundamental principle of chemistry is that if you have an acid substance and an alkali substance and you put them together, they neutralize, right? Which means they lose their effectiveness, I guess, is the way to present it. But they neutralize. Okay, so all food comes in variations of its acidity and alkalinity. Okay, obviously an orange is highly acid. Vegetables are more acidic. Okay. Sweet fruit, high density sweet fruit, more alkaline. Okay. Did I say vegetables are more acidic? I don't really know. I think vegetables are more alkaline, actually. Cooked food in general becomes more acidic. So when you cook food, or what's uncommonly known as encharcolate it, which means you put it through the first stages of becoming charcoal, that's what cooking is, it becomes acidic. Okay. At any rate, all these things like pasta and, all those aforementioned things have their own level of alkalinity and acidity. Okay, so the next logical conclusion is that you don't want to eat acidic food with alkaline food because it neutralizes. And the way your body does this is it produces, I think, enzymes, right? Digestive enzymes and digestive substances from the moment it hits your mouth till it gets into your stomach, and thereafter it's producing different kinds of digestive juices. Okay, some of these juices are designed to digest acidic food. Some are designed to digest alkaline food. Okay, so when you eat an acid and an alkaline together, both those substances are issue forth from your body to digest, right, at the same time, therefore neutralizing, right, because they're mixing up the alkaline digestive juices are going after the acid and vice versa. And what you get is a completely ineffective digestion process and what I call sludge. Okay, so you turn your food into sludge. So when it gets out, first of all, it's going to move a lot slower through your system, just like sludge through a pipeline. Second of all, you haven't digested it, all right? You maybe altered it so that it can get through your body, but you've done a very poor job of digesting it. Thirdly, it's going to create things like putrification, which is what causes smelly, farts, right? Or what do you call it? Not putrefaction, but when you have fermentation. Okay, fermentation produces farts that don't smell, so you can tell right away what's causing your gas or your indigestion just by whether or not it smells or not. Okay, so you're going to run into trouble. The other thing, the highly important thing, is that it takes the less effectively you combine food, the longer the exit time. Okay, and the object here, just like the flow that I referred to before, is to get that food that the nutrients have been extracted from, and get that food out of your system as quickly as possible. Now, I have read that the average person on SAD has 3 to 4 days worth of food, okay, fermenting and putrefying in their digestive system. Okay, so if you're only going to the bathroom once a day or once every 2 days, okay, that's why. All right, because you've got poorly combined food mixing acid and alkaline digestive substances. They're neutralizing, so your food isn't getting digested. Okay, the other effect of that is that you're starving yourself. Okay, you're eating all this food and you're not getting any nutrients, so you're going through actually what is a form of starvation. So the bigger that you are, the more weight you carry is an increasing indication of how you're starving. Okay, so the way that works is that if you're poorly combining, you're not getting the nutrients, your body wants more food because it's still striving to be healthy, and it needs the food and the nutrients, and it's not getting it. Okay, so you keep eating, right? Of course, if you combine that with all the addictive substances in SAD diets like salt, right, and all that other stuff, you know, oils and hydrogenated oils and, you know, God knows what. So you got the addiction going on, and you got the body sending out the natural signal to eat more because you're not getting nutrients. So the opposite of what you think is what's happening. If you see somebody who's obese, they're starving, okay? Now, so let's just take an example of a meal. So if you sit down to a meal of chicken, pasta, and salad, okay, maybe you're drinking something with it, right? First of all, you should never drink when you're eating because it dilutes the digestive juices and keeps your food from digesting. And if you notice, if you drink a lot when you eat, you'll notice a significant immediate drop in your energy. I notice that. You know, if I eat a salad, just a salad, nothing else, and I drink water on top of it, I get a pretty quick depletion of my energy. So, at any rate, so anyways, we're looking at a meal of chicken, pasta, and salad, and maybe dessert, you know, chocolate mousse, and maybe we're drinking milk with that, or we're drinking something else, you know. Okay, you got a disaster here. Okay, so here's the principles of food combining with regard to that. The rice, okay, which is a carbohydrate, does not mix with the chicken, which is a protein. Okay, two different kinds of digestive substances have to be secreted to digest those. Okay, so you already got it going on, right? And there's nothing wrong with a salad, okay, unless the salad has more protein in it, like nuts or something, you know. At any rate, the solution there is to eliminate one of the concentrated foods, which is the other word for low water content. Okay, chicken and pasta are concentrated foods, and you only eat one of those concentrated foods at any meal. All right, so you sit down to dinner and just get rid of the rice or get rid of the chicken and eat the salad and the rice, or the salad and the chicken. Get rid of what you're drinking. Okay, you're drinking that because your food is dehydrating you, by the way, because it's cooked. Okay, and as far as the chocolate mousse, well, you know, sugar is poison. Processed sugar is poison, so I would get rid of it. I think chocolate is probably a carbohydrate. So it, you know, maybe if you eat the chocolate with the rice, it's going to work, but not the chocolate with the chicken. Okay. So that's the first principle. Now, I want to make a note about that because every 10 years for the last 50 years, there's come up to the surface this whole idea of high-fat, low-carb, or high-protein, low-carb diets. You know, the keto diet, the Atkins diet. Okay, that particular phenomenon. And people lose weight. They go on this, 6 months later, they've lost what, 30 pounds or something, right? Well, it's not because they're eating protein, okay? That's not the reason that they're losing the weight. They're losing the weight because they eliminated the second concentrated food from their plate, okay? They eliminated the rice. So now they're digesting the chicken more efficiently with the salad, okay? So they're losing weight. They're not turning the, of course, chicken is like horrible, but, it will digest better if it's eaten alone. If it's eaten with rice, it turns into sludge, okay? And you're plugging up the pipes. So a very significant point about those diets is that it doesn't have anything to do with eating protein as opposed to carbohydrates. It has everything has to do with eating only one type of concentrated food, okay? You could get the same effect, and it would be far healthier for you if you just ate the carbohydrates, okay? And you eliminated the other concentrated food, which is the chicken, okay? And if you do that, hey, you're on the road, okay? You're on the road to salvation because you're eliminating an animal product, okay? So if you go with the cooked carbohydrates in the salad, you keep eating that, you're going to lose weight, okay? And you're going to get calories out of that carbohydrate, okay? And you're not going to poison yourself with too much protein. Most people eat way, way too much protein, okay? You don't need that much protein. You need a handful of nuts, like 7 Brazil nuts. That's got all the protein you're ever going to need in a single day, all right? Anything more than that, it's going to make you sick. Maybe not right away, but it's going to build up over time. So anyways, so at the next level from a standard American diet, you're eating fruit in the morning, you're not combining 2 concentrated foods, you're eating salad a day, and you're gradually increasing the density of the food throughout the day. Okay, so starting with acid fruit, going to high density sweet fruit, going to vegetables, going to your carbohydrates, pasta, rice, blah blah blah, a little bit of protein, nuts, seeds, that sort of thing, fat. Okay, so that would be the second level. I guess I would call it of mastering the art of eating food. The next level would, of course, be eliminating as many animal products as possible, becoming vegetarian. Eventually, the third level would be you would be a vegan, a cooked vegan. You would be eating cooked vegan food, no animal products. And then, lastly would be, of course, the uncooked or raw vegan diet, and the ultimate, of course, is the uncooked raw vegan low-fat diet, which I call tree-based. Instead of plant-based, you're a tree-based eater, okay? Like me, most of my food comes from a tree. Well, bananas are not really a tree, they're grass, so they're blades of grass, but they look like a tree, so we'll just shine that on. Anyway, so those are the principles of food combining. And once again, I would highly recommend getting the book Fit for Life. It came out in the 80s. Harvey, Merrill, and Diamond were in Hollywood. They became the darlings of the conscious eating Hollywood crowd for a while. They did a video. When I first tried it, I first tried it in 1989. No, it was about 1986, okay? I thought it made me sick, right? And so I quit immediately. But then, 6 to 8 months later, I was on the East Coast, and I was working for this financial company, and my energy started to, I was out the door, man. It was like chronic fatigue. And so I finally got desperate enough to go back to the Fit for Life program, and I tried it, and it worked right away. But it only took me to a certain plateau, and then I had to keep going. That's because I did not, I quit using stimulants. I quit coffee. I quit sugar. Okay? I quit salt. Okay? All these things, all these stimulating things that people get their energy from, I eliminated. So my body was telling me exactly what it was, or whether or not my diet at any given time was working, because it would affect my energy level. So, at any rate, you can get the book you know, for like $2.50 you can get a hardcover, because of course nobody's buying or reading it now, and you can go on Amazon and you get it. I ordered 5 copies like 8 months ago and gave them out to people, none of whom read it. And but anyways, I don't have a copy for myself right now, so I can't show you the book. But you want to get the first edition. It's the simplest one, and just get it on Amazon, and it will introduce you to properly combining your food, which is a huge step. No matter what you're eating, it's a huge step, you know. And then you start thinking, you know, when you get into it and you learn it, you start thinking of steak as not as steak, but as highly concentrated food, low water food. Okay, pasta, highly concentrated. That's a high concentrated food. Tomatoes, low water content, low concentrated. Okay, and you can divide all your food into those 2 categories, and then you know what to do with them. Okay, so that is basically what I wanted to cover today. And if you want to go beyond to the next level, which you eventually will, there's a guy by the name of Robert Klein. I believe that's his name, Robert Klein. He lives on Maui. You can Google him. He wrote the penultimate description of how to combine your food. He gets way into it, right? So as you get more attuned to eating what your body actually uses for fuel, you'll want to know these things. Okay? Things like, you know, starch, not combining starch with fat, and that sort of thing, or starch with carbohydrates, or even though starch is a carbohydrate, you know, all that kind of stuff, the minutia of it, which I use every day. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for striving to be a conscious eater. My name is Trace Perot. This is episode number 2 on my channel, 20 at 70, which I named because I feel like I'm 20 at 70. And I'm pretty damn sure I'll feel like I'm 20 at 80 when I get there. Anyways, thank you.